All right, everybody, welcome back to now it's part 8. Kind of jumped the gun last time. But welcome, everybody, once again to part 8 of my 2026 LaserDisc collection overview video series, whatever. And we're going to get right into it. And we'll knock out this last row in the front here. And then we'll start working on the stuff in the back. So, first up, and these should all behave, hopefully. I do have the first two Scream movies on LaserDisc. Scream 3 did come out on LaserDisc, but it only came out in Japan. But I don't like Scream 3, so there's that's just me. But first up, of course, we have the original Scream, and this is the exclusive widescreen director's cut. Because again, as I have said before, the director's cut with the little bit more extra violence, and it was good enough for LaserDisc and it was good enough for VHS, but it never came out on a DVD, Blu-ray, or 4K. So for whatever reason, I don't know why, but oh well. So I do have this on LaserDisc. I'll make some room here. Sorry. This does have the commentary track with Wes Craven, which ended up on the... Actually, no, I don't think... I think, because... I think the commentary on the DVD had Kevin Williamson as well. So maybe this only has... Hold on, I gotta look this up. Because I could have sworn that the commentary on the DVD and the Blu-ray, it's Wes and Kevin Williamson. It's only... Yeah, it's on the other page. Because that's Germany. Yeah, because on... I'm looking at it now. On LaserDisc database, it says Scream Director's Cut. There we go. Yeah. It's Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson, but for some reason it only says Wes Craven on here. On the back. So, yeah, that's the one that ended up on the DVD and the Blu-rays, but that's okay. So, their commentary is on here. It's the uncut version, and also, because it's a Disney title, it is Dolby Digital AC3. They did do a DTS release later, but that one is very expensive, because I did look that up the other day, and they are very pricey. Also, the same with this movie. So then I have Scream 2, which I always really enjoyed. After that, I gave up for the most part, so because I don't like Scream 3, and after that, I like them less and less and less. So because someone messaged me recently, and they're like, "Are you excited for Scream 7?" I'm like, "Why the fuck would I be excited for Scream 7?" Oh well. And this just has the movie. There's no commentary or extras, but it does have Dolby Digital AC3, and as I just mentioned, there was also a later DTS release, which is very expensive. They can get the AC3 versions can get a little expensive, but I think the first Scream I've had forever. I think that was one of the first laser discs I got because I knew that it was the uncut version, and then Scream 2 I got a couple years ago, and I don't think I paid that much for it. So there's that. And then I do have the Evil Dead sequels. I do have the first movie, but that is in a box set, and we'll get to the box sets. Probably not in this segment, but we'll see. So first up, we have the Elite Entertainment widescreen special edition of Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn, which always love that poster art there, and I love the back here as well. So you do get a letter or a note from Bruce Campbell, which is awesome. The movie is, of course, in widescreen. You do get the commentary with Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, Scott Spiegel, may he rest in peace, and Greg Nicotero, and the trailer, and then the 30 minutes behind the scenes footage, which I don't think made it to... I think it's on DVD, but I don't think made it to the Blu-ray. I think the commentary did, but the 30-minute making of, I don't think made it to any of the Blu-ray releases. So there you go. I could be wrong on that. But I think I'm pretty sure it's stuck on DVD. But this is the blood red edition of the movie, which a lot of people said that they have issues with this. Mine has always played fine. I've never had any problems with this. I don't know if maybe there was a bad batch or faulty LaserDisc players or what the case was, but this copy plays fine. I've never had issues with this. Same with the first movie, because we'll get to that later, but that one's gold, and I've never had any issues with that either. And then Toxic Avenger, even though I don't like the movie, there was a green Toxic Avenger LaserDisc which came out. So there you go. And then I do have Army of Darkness. Universal put this out on Laser, which they were the only people that did. This is the letterbox version. I want to say that there was also a full screen release, but I could be wrong on that. And because the movie is only 80 minutes, side 2 is in CAV. So there's that. So there you go. But love, again, that old school Universal Studios LaserDisc setup with, again, the globe and the banner and everything, and then the back, which was similar to the VHS. But very, very nice. Very, very nice. And then I have the Fright Night films. So we have the original. This is the widescreen re-release. There was a older full screen release, and I actually got this brand new factory sealed. The guy said that he said it was, I think it was very good condition, but it was actually sealed. So I was like, even better. You gotta fucking undersell it, I guess. But again, that classic poster art there. Love that. Always love that. And then the back, the standard Sony rear cover with all the production notes and the chapter stops and everything, which is very cool. But gotta love Fright Night. And then I do have Fright Night 2, which was good from good old Image Entertainment. Can't go wrong there. This one was not as expensive as the DVD. I think I paid about as much as I did, honestly, for the old Artisan DVD, which, of course, when the Blu-ray comes out, I'll probably get rid of that DVD, but that's okay. Alright, then we have another Image title here, the original Waxwork. I don't have Waxwork 2 on LaserDisc, and this is the unrated version, which for the longest time was, I think it was only on VHS and LaserDisc. I think when that the old Artisan DVD of Waxwork, I think it might have been the R-rated cut, I'm not sure. So people wanted it on LaserDisc and VHS. I'm pretty sure I got this cheap, though, on LaserDisc. The Blu-ray is the unrated version, but I want to say that Artisan DVD was the R-rated cut, because they did that. Like with Prom Night, I think Prom Night, which one is it? 3. Sorry, I had to yawn. Prom Night 3. For whatever reason, they released the TV version of Prom Night 3 instead of the R-rated theatrical cuts. That's why I had to get the overseas release. So there you go. Alright, now we got... Yeah, those should be... You know what? I'll just do that. There we go. Most of this is actually Batman titles. So I have the original CBS Fox release of the Adam West Batman film, which was in between the first and the second season of the TV show. So again, much like Halloween 5, instead of that grayish banner, it's black. I don't know why, because it doesn't really match with that. And then they did black, except the top here still has that gray banner. I'm pretty sure I got this one very cheap. Just figured why not. And then I also got the remastered release, which I think it is remastered, but it's still in full screen for whatever reason, because this came out in 97. I guess they reissued this when Batman and Robin came out in the theaters. This one can get a little expensive, I noticed. I think when I got it, it was decently priced, but for whatever reason, this re-release can get a little pricey, and I did get it sealed. I just busted the seal on it. But I don't understand why they released this in full screen because the movie was shot in widescreen. So I don't know. But yeah, both of these are in full screen. This one might be open matte. I want to say it probably is. This one I'm not sure. But again, it just baffles me that they released the re-release was in full screen, because again, the movie went to theater, so it was shot in the widescreen format. I don't know. Oh well. And then of course you have to have Batman 89, which is essential for any home video collection, but the LaserDisc just really fit that artwork. Not that the VHS didn't, or the DVD, but the size of a record sleeve, it just looks a little better on there. So there you go. And then this one actually is in widescreen. So, because this was 1990 when this came out? Yeah. So this may have been one of the first widescreen laser discs from Warner Brothers. I'm not sure. I'm not sure when they switched over. But it may have been because it was such a huge movie. They said, well, why don't we just put it in widescreen? Maybe. Again, I don't know. I don't work for these people. I wouldn't want to work for these people. I get fired the first day because I'd be like, why the fuck is Freddy's Nightmares not on DVD? There you go. Then, of course, we have Batman Returns with that classic poster art there, classic artwork. This one also is in widescreen, which is nice. Like I said, I don't think any of these got full screen release. Like I said, I think Batman, if it was not, it might have been one of the first widescreen titles that they put out. Warner Brothers did. And then, of course, we have Batman Forever, which was my favorite. It's still my favorite, or at least the Schumacher cut. And guess what? Since it's a Warner Brothers title, Dolby Digital AC3, daddy. So there you go. Very nice. And yeah, all these are just the movies. There's no trailers or anything, but still cool to have. I do not have Batman and Robin. I'm probably never going to get Batman and Robin because I don't need Batman and Robin on LaserDisc. I'm good. I'll just stick with Blu-ray for that. Maybe VHS. Maybe I'll get it on VHS, but I don't think I say that, but watch. I'll go out somewhere and they'll have Batman and Robin on LaserDisc and it'll be cheap and I'll just get it. So there you go. Then we have Mask of the Phantasm, which is in widescreen because this was a movie where it was shot in full screen and then they blew it up to widescreen because it went to theaters. So technically, there is two aspect ratios for this movie. Because again, this was originally going to go direct to video at the last minute. Put it in theaters, so they had to blow the picture up to widescreen to fit the screen, and then that's how they released it. But again, technically, it has two aspect ratios. Sub-Zero, for whatever. So I found out Sub-Zero, the LaserDisc is in widescreen, but all the other releases are in full screen. The Blu-ray, I think the DVD was as well. So that one, I think it was kind of the opposite situation where they were planning to put that in the theaters, and then because Batman and Robin got such a shitty reputation, they pulled it and then they dumped it on video, but they already had a widescreen version done, so they put that on LaserDisc. And yeah, because the animated series Blu-ray that I have, that's in full screen because I looked it up. So yeah, interesting. And then this one's really cool. Speaking of the Batman and Robin movie, we do have The Adventures of Batman and Robin. Now, this was actually released in Singapore. This is an exclusive to that country. But as you can tell, it's got Batman, Robin, Mr. Freeze, and Poison Ivy. So this actually came out when the movie did. And they just took 4 of the VHS tapes and put them on LaserDisc. But again, this only came out in Singapore. I've only seen this on eBay a couple times. When I got it, it was actually pretty cheap. I think the shipping was probably more, to be honest. If it wants to come out, there we go. Because it is a gatefold. Yeah, I think, honestly, I probably paid more in shipping than I did to get the title. But again, I don't know what it goes for now. And you do get a pretty cool gatefold in here, just with kind of the key art of the VHS releases and such. But it's still pretty cool to have. And there you go. So, again, these titles were all released here in America on VHS, so you can get them here. But the only place that they got a LaserDisc was Singapore. for whatever reason. So the Batman episodes is Dreams in Darkness and Beware the Gray Ghost, which might actually be my favorite episode, where Adam West did the voice of the Gray Ghost. And then that's side one. Side two is the Robin tape, which is Robin's Reckoning, parts 1 and 2, which I believe they won Emmys for that episode, if I'm not mistaken. That's the one where Robin goes after the guy that killed his parents, Tony Zuko, who was voiced by none other than Biff himself from Back to the Future, Tom Wilson. Side 3 is Mr. Freeze, or it's Batman Fire and Ice is the name of the VHS. But it has Fire from Olympus, which was with Maxie Zeus, and then Deep Freeze, which is with Mr. Freeze. And then side 4 is the Poison Ivy VHS, which had Eternal Youth and House and Garden on there, which is very, very cool. Really, really like this. I got, like I said, I believe I paid more in the shipping to get this than I did, but really cool stuff. They also did, it was a box set. I think it came out in Singapore as well. That had, it was a 3-disc set that had 6 of the other, I think, VHS tapes just released on LaserDisc. I would like to get those. I've seen them a couple times here and there on eBay, but typically they go pretty quick. So it's one of those things where if you see it, you should probably get it, because if you don't, it's going to go very fast, and then you're going to kick yourself in the ass, which we've all been through. Yeah, Singapore, they got Power Ranger LaserDisc, they got Batman, the animated series, they got the Spider-Man cartoon from the 90s, they got X-Men, but of course all these releases are hard to find. Had to burp. If I only had a friend that lived in Singapore that would find these for me and send them to me, and I would pay them the shipping and everything else, life would be a little bit easier. So there you go. Now, we have the first LaserDisc that I ever bought. I actually bought this before I had a LaserDisc player, but it is Mortal Kombat. This is the widescreen special edition. There was not a full screen release of this movie, but yeah, actually, right before I got a player, I bought this because it was actually my birthday, and I found it at one of the local antique malls for $5, and I just said, fuck it, man, I'll get it. It's $5. One day I'll get a LaserDisc player. And then that Christmas is when my mom, you can't see it, it's out of the frame, got me my player in here, which is still going strong. But yeah, this was the first LaserDisc I ever bought. So very nice. Now, what is really cool about this LaserDisc is that number one, it's Mortal Kombat. Number 2, it has a commentary with Lawrence Kasanoff, the producer, and Allison Savage, who was the visual effects supervisor. That never made it to the DVD and the Blu-ray, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be on the Era release. So now it's not pointless to have this, but now it's kind of less significant, so to speak. And then also, at the end of the movie, there is trailers and TV spots. The 3 TV spots never made it to the DVD or the Blu-ray releases, so it's probably going to be on the Era release, same with the commentary. But it's Mortal Kombat, so there you go. And because it's a New Line title, it does have the Dolby Digital AC3 soundtrack. They also did a DTS release later on, but of course that one is pricey. I do not have Mortal Kombat Annihilation on LaserDisc. I'm sure one day I will, because I'm fucking nuts. But I do also have the Mortal Kombat animated video, The Journey Begins, because this, for the longest time, was only available on VHS and LaserDisc. The original Mortal Kombat Blu-ray, for whatever reason, had this as the only extra. I think there was the trailer as well. So one of the few extra features that made it to the Mortal Kombat Blu-ray was this. Now, maybe this will be on the Era release. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I actually rented this as a kid. I do remember renting this from the video store. And I do have it on VHS. I think my brother actually bought me the VHS of this as a birthday present one year, because he found it. It was like when Family Dollar, because where we used to live at the old house when I first started here on YouTube, there was a Family Dollar across the street, and they were still selling VHS at the time. So I think he went in there and got it cheap. But I actually really like the artwork on here. It's very cool. Make of make of this whatever you want. I do like it for what it is. That's just me. But I like it. But the artwork is really cool. Yeah, the CGI has not aged that well, but it's 1995. I will give it the pass. So I don't think. Is there anything on side 2? No, it's only on side 1 because it's less than an hour. So the actual animated special or video or whatever you want to call it, that is 39 minutes, give or take, and then the making of is 15. So it's about an hour here, and then very cool. So the first 12 chapters is the animated special, and then it has the making of the movie, which that's also the reason why that never made it to the DVD or the Blu-ray either. I think that's why people, I don't know what this goes for now, but that's why people kind of want this, is because it has the making of the film. But again, we'll see. We will see if any of this ends up on the Arrow release or not. If it does, cool. If not, that's cool too. It's not that big of a deal. And then I do have the first three Ninjas movies, because these were the only ones that came out on LaserDisc. High Noon at Mega Mountain never got a release. But we have the original, which I think this is a former rental. And this is in full screen, but again, I do not know if it's open matte or not. And this is the American version of the film, because the international version had all the extra fights and such. Which that is on Blu-ray, because they did the Blu-ray in Australia. And I am very surprised that Disney, because Disney owns the first one, I'm surprised they have not put the first one out on Blu-ray, because it did very, very well for them when it first came out. And I'm sure the video did very well too back in the day. But for whatever reason, they never put it out on Blu-ray. It's on DVD. It's up there somewhere. But in Australia, they put it out, but it's only the international version. I guess Disney has a stranglehold on the American cut. So there you go. And then I have Three Ninjas Kick Back, which is in widescreen. There is a widescreen DVD. The first printing of the DVD was a flip disc, but that one's a little bit harder to find. They went, all the other pressings were in full screen, so at the time I got this was really the easiest way to get the movie in widescreen, unless you looked through all the listings on eBay and just happened to find one of the flip discs. Same with Last Action Hero. When Last Action Hero first came out on DVD, it was a flip disc, and then they went full screen for whatever reason for the standard. And again, typical Sony setup here with the production notes on the back, which again were repurposed for the DVDs for the chapter inserts. And then same deal with Three Ninjas Knuckle Up, which I got this sealed and just opened it up. Same deal where originally when it came out on DVD, it was in widescreen and full screen. It was a flipper disc, but all the other pressings went to full screen. So this was the easiest way to get the movie in widescreen for a little bit. Now it doesn't matter, because like I said, you can get a Blu-ray for them. But those are all childhood favorites, so I don't mind having them anyway. And then, of course, as I said before, the second movie is actually the third movie, and the third movie is actually the second movie, because Disney was working on Knuckle Up. They got cold feet. They stopped. Someone came in and bought the movie from them. They finished it up. It sat on the shelf. They did Kickback, and then they released Knuckle Up later as the third movie, but technically it is the second movie. I know, it's weird. Oh well. Anyway, moving on. We got a couple, actually, do it that way. So, got a couple movies that were shot in Baltimore here. So, first up, we have Diner, which I do not know where. I think I got this at a record store or something. Yeah, I think I got this at a record store. But, great movie. Barry Levinson, I have to watch this, and Tin Men as a double feature. But this is the first movie in his Baltimore series. Tin Men is the second film, Avalon is the third movie, and then Liberty Heights is the fourth and the last one. Liberty Heights might have a LaserDisc. I'm not sure. I have to look that up, but I'm not going to right now. This is actually a later release, but it's still in full screen. Again, I do not know if it's open matte or not, and it has the trailer at the end of the film. But yeah, this was a 1991 release from MGM. I don't know why they didn't put it in widescreen, but oh well. And then another movie that was shot in Baltimore from a different director, and this is definitely my favorite movie that he did, Crybaby from John Waters, which this is in full screen. Again, I do not know if it's open matte or not. I got this at a local kind of retro place not too far from here. But yeah, it only came out in the full screen version on LaserDisc, and side 2 is CAV because the movie is only 80 minutes, so there you go. But I love this movie. Again, this is my favorite John Waters film. I need to get the Blu-ray from Kino because it's got all new extras in both versions of the film. This is of course the original theatrical cut, so there you go. And as I've said before, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that this was the first actual movie that Tracy Lords did, because this is right after she got busted for doing porn underage and everything, and it was a big deal. And yeah, it was. You can't be doing shit like that. But nobody knew because she lied about her age. And there wasn't what we have now. But John Waters took a chance on her, and I think critically she got a lot of good reviews and stuff, and that led to her actually pursuing a regular acting career. So there you go. And of course you have, well, back in the day, Amy Locane was fucking gorgeous. I don't care what anyone says. She went to prison for a little bit. I don't know if she's out or not, because she killed somebody she was drunk driving and she killed someone. She did go to jail for a while. Like I said, I don't know if she's still in prison or not, but back in the 90s, she was fucking smoking hot. Whether it was Crybaby or School Ties or Airheads, where she did 2 movies where she was Brendan Fraser's girlfriend. So Brendan Fraser's a lucky dude. At least in the film world. No, he's a good guy. I love that guy. But yeah, she was a smoke show back in the day. Next up, this movie. What is today's date? Today is the 9th. At the current time that I am recording this video, this movie is 30 years old. So today, there you go. But we have Broken Arrow, which is the American John Woo action film. So there you go. But I absolutely love this movie. I had this, still have it actually. It was on, my parents recorded it on a blank tape, but we taped over it. So it's only like the second half of the movie. So I used to watch that all the time. But great stuff here. Again, typical Fox title, widescreen banner at the top. That half of the old school logo. And then on the back, you get all your production notes, cast, and chapter stops. And because it is a Fox title, it is the Dolby Digital AC3 track. There is also a DTS release, and this is actually one of the cheaper DTS releases out there. So there you go. And I'm sure even the analog track on here is loud as fuck. So I can't imagine what the AC3 and the DTS tracks sound like. I'm sure they're equally loud, or probably louder because it's surround sound. So there you go. But that and Hard Target are my favorite American John Woo films. Hard Target was more of him doing his Hong Kong style, and then because there were issues with that and everything, Broken Arrow was more of him doing kind of an American type of action movie. But that's okay, because it's all good in the hood. So there you go. And then the last 2 in the front here, and we're just getting warmed up, so don't worry. I have surprisingly, the only 2 Doctor Who releases that came out in America on LaserDisc. Obviously, in Europe, there was way more. But in America, there were only 2 for whatever reason. I think I have these backwards here. I do have them backwards here. My bad, because Day of the Daleks came out first. So we have this one, again, from CBS Fox Video, because BBC Video teamed up with them for their American releases. So we have a 3rd Doctor adventure here, which this is the complete serial of that, which is very cool. And then we have, I don't want to cover up the master there, but we have the 5 Doctors, which again was They only did 2 here for whatever reason. I guess they didn't sell well or what the case was. But yeah, this is the 5 Doctor special, which had uh, fuck, Peter Davison, because he was the 5th Doctor at the time. I'm looking right at it. John Pertwee was actually still in good shape and everything. Patrick Troughton, I think he had difficulties doing this, if I'm not mistaken. Richard Herndahl played the 1st Doctor because I believe who was the 1st Doctor? William Hartnell. Yeah, he had. I think he had already passed away, but they had stock footage of him in here. And then Tom Baker, he did not want to do this for whatever reason, so they just reused stock footage. Reused stock footage of him in here. So there's that. But yeah, they only did, for whatever reason, 2. I think now they're pretty pricey. When I got them, they were still relatively cheap. So there you go. And I will do, there's 3 stacks on the top here. So I will do all 3 of these, and then we'll start working in the front here. If they want to come out. I can't show you them if they don't behave. Alright, first up, next up rather, excuse me, we have Black Rain, the classic movie, my favorite Ridley Scott film, and probably my favorite I'd say my favorite Michael Douglas movie, to be honest. But this is the widescreen release. There is a older release that is in full screen. But I got this one because, again, Ridley Scott shot the movie in widescreen for a reason. And we got a great gatefold in there with some awesome pictures. I actually had another copy of this, but it was really scuffed up and everything, the artwork, so I got rid of it. And this one is in really nice shape. It's still got all the gloss on it. And you can't go wrong with Black Rain. So there you go. And I gotta make some more piles here so I know what goes where, not that it really matters. Then we have Tombstone, classic, probably my favorite Western. This is the exclusive widescreen director's edition, and it has the original Tower Records sticker on there as well, which is very cool. So this LaserDisc is interesting because it does have the movie, obviously the full movie, and then there is I want to say it's 4 or 5 deleted scenes at the end of the film. Now later for DVD, they did do a director's cut DVD which incorporated, I think, 3 of the 4 deleted scenes that were on here, and it's just fluff. It's really nothing special. The true Kurt Russell director's cut, I would love to see that, but I don't think it's ever going to come out. Although Kurt Russell said he has all the footage, so I don't know, but I don't think it's ever going to come out. But yeah, for whatever reason, there was one of those deleted scenes that never ended up in that director's cut version, so it's only on this LaserDisc, which is, it is what it is. So yeah, and I did get this one sealed, and I just busted it open to watch it. But you can't go wrong with Tombstone. Then we have the original release of Mrs. Doubtfire. They did do a special edition release later on, but I did not know that till after I bought this LaserDisc. But always loved the original theatrical poster, which of course they used for the VHS as well. Got this, again, at that local retro spot for a couple bucks. You cannot go wrong. And it is a gatefold, so I will show you that. But there's that. Always love that shot, which that shot they used for the DVDs and the Blu-rays, and then they did like that shitty artwork. But it's only the movie here. Side 3, which is about the last 10 minutes of the movie, is CAV, because the movie is slightly over 2 hours, but that's about it. They did not fill out the rest of the side with a trailer or anything like that. And then, yeah, this is just the original stereo mix of the movie. Actually, I'm sorry, it is not a gatefold. I thought it was. I was going to say, Fox didn't do many gatefolds. My bad, guys. Sorry. You know what? I might have it. I think the special edition's a gatefold, maybe. So sorry. I'm only human. Don't yell at me. Ah. Then we have the first two Tremors movies, because obviously Tremors 3 never got a release because it came out after LaserDisc was over. But this is the Universal Studios signature collection of the original. There is another release of this. Actually, I think there's a couple other releases. There is a full screen release, and then I also believe they did a widescreen re-release, and then we got this one. So, yeah, Tremors actually got a special edition LaserDisc, which is very cool, even though the movie did not really do that well in the theaters. I think it was another film that kind of instantly became a cult classic, and therefore got a special edition later on around the time that the second movie came out. But there you go. Beautiful front and back, and then here's your gatefold, and there's Ron Underwood's signature right there. Mostly behind the scenes photos, which is very cool. Couple shots from the movie. There's your production notes and everything, and all your chapter stops over here. So you get disc 1 is the movie. I think only side 4 is CAV. So side 3 has the making of, or it's a documentary that they did for this LaserDisc, which made it to the DVDs and the Blu-rays. At the end, they have a creature featurette, which is about the special effects, which was done when the movie was made. Side 4 is B-roll footage, trailers, the original making of featurette. There's some, again, frame-by-frame stuff about Kevin Bacon and Michael Gross, and production photographs, LaserDisc credits, and then it does actually have the trailer for Tremors 2 Aftershocks, because I think that had come out right around the time that this LaserDisc did, or it was about to come out. And Tremors 2 mostly went straight to video. It actually had a premiere at Universal Studios in California. They did a premiere screening for everybody, and then it had, I think, a limited release in a couple markets, but it mostly went straight to video. So there you go. And it also has, no, I thought it had a commentary track, but it does not, so it's okay. Not a big deal. Then, of course, I have Tremors 2 Aftershocks, which actually my favorite. Everybody gets mad because Tremors 2 is my favorite, but oh well. Because Tremors, not that the first one, but it always seemed like Tremors 2 was on more when I was a kid. Like, it was always on Sci-Fi Channel and everything back in the day. I do have to replace the battery here, so we'll do that shortly. But Tremors 2, I always liked a hell of a lot more, at least in my opinion. And you know what? We will swap out the battery, so I will do that, and we'll go about 20 more minutes, and we'll go from there. But the battery's about to die, so we can't be having that. Alright, back at it. Just had to do a little battery change on the microphone, because I was sitting here, and I kept looking. I saw the light was getting dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, and I was like, okay, time to change that battery. And I did check the footage, and we didn't lose anything in there, so we're all good. All the levels and everything are fine. We didn't lose audio quality. So let's go about another 20 minutes for this part, and then we'll keep it rocking and rolling. So I do have next up Jaws 2. This is the later widescreen release. Of course, there's I think a few releases of Jaws 2 in full screen. I think it was a Disco Vision title, and maybe there was another release where it was in full screen. But in the early 90s, they did do a widescreen re-release. I always love this artwork. I know they used that, I think, overseas for some of the posters, but that I always thought was cool. But I love Jaws 2. Very solid sequel as far as I'm concerned. I think this is another one where it seemed like Jaws 2 was always on more than the first one as a kid. Not that the first one was constantly on TV, but at times it seemed like the second one was always, not always, but a lot of times on more. So, oh well. Then we have the other a couple Lorenzo Lamas movies that I already watched. But first we have Bad Blood, aka Viper, as it's known overseas. But this is definitely one of the better films that he did, at least in my opinion. I know a lot of other people share that opinion, which is cool. But a bunch of good action in here, good stuff. And both of the women in here, Frankie Thorne and Kimberly Cates, are absolutely smoking hot. And both of them take their shirts off, so can't complain. And then this came out in Hong Kong, but we have Renegade Fighting Cage, which was the first season finale, the first 2-part season finale, which came out in America as a VHS, and then this was the only LaserDisc release for it. But in America, for whatever reason, it's not on this version, but in America they added sex scenes for some reason, because the show clearly didn't have any because it was on syndication, but they added 3 random sex scenes that were shot later that they edited into the movie. Again, I don't know why, but the LaserDisc here is just the 2-part episode edited together like a movie. But actually, no, because it's 1 episode per side. So there's that. There's another release that came out for Murderer's Row, which was the 2nd season finale, but that one I've never been able to find, and that only came out overseas as well. So again, if I can actually get these out, there we go, that'll work. And we have next stack of discs here, we have Ernest Scared Stupid, which is the only Ernest movie that I have on LaserDisc. I think they only put out Ernest Scared Stupid, Ernest Saves Christmas, Ernest Goes to Jail. No, they didn't. Ernest Goes to Jail, Ernest Goes to Camp. I want to say Slam Dunk Ernest got a LaserDisc release. I could be wrong. I want to say it did. I have to look that up. But Ernest Scared Stupid is the only one that I have for now. Now, this one is a rarity. This one was expensive when I got it, but at the time, I had the disposable income to get it and everything, and it doesn't pop up often. But this is the Dolby Digital AC3, and I believe it's a late title. Yes, 1998 release of The Lost Boys. The Lost Boys has, I think, about 3 LaserDisc releases here in America, but this was the last release. And again, this was the Dolby Digital AC3 release, and the reason, or how you could tell, because the cover is always the poster, how you could tell is it has the red logos for LaserDisc and widescreen release at the bottom. Now, I got this sealed, and I busted it open, but this one still had the Dolby Digital sticker on it. If you get it unsealed or whatever, it might not have it. But that's how you can tell, and then, of course, on the back, it will say Dolby Digital AC3 at the bottom. And this was also when the first DVD came out, and they used the same master. So this actually looks really, really good for a LaserDisc. So there you go. But this one is very hard to come by. When you do find it, it's not going to be cheap. I will tell you that. But I did get lucky and get it for a good price. And again, I actually got it sealed too. So I'm the only person that's ever watched this, which is very cool. But one of my all-time favorite vampire films, as you guys all very well know. And then we have White Squall, which is a pretty good Ridley Scott movie that never gets talked about. It never gets brought up. It did not do well when it came out in the theaters. But it's basically, as my brother puts it, it's school ties on a boat. Pretty much. Except nobody's Jewish and they're not getting persecuted because they're Jewish. So there's that. But good film. Always really liked this film. I remember watching it a lot on HBO and Cinemax back in the day. They would show this movie quite frequently. Really good cast in here. Not only Jeff Bridges, amazing actor. Caroline Goodall from Cliffhanger plays his wife. John Savage plays the English teacher in the film. Then you have a bunch of actors who were just starting out. Scott Wolf had just done Double Dragon. He was on Party of Five. Balthazar Getty is in this. I think this is one of Ryan Felipe's first movies. This and Crimson Tide. So there's a bunch of people in here. And it's actually based on a true story as well. But I think, of course, they changed a lot of it for the, Hollywood version. But, good movie. I've always quite enjoyed that film. There is a Blu-ray. There's no extras, sadly, but I do have that on Blu-ray as well. I want to say I have it on VHS, but I could be wrong. Next up, actually, since it's two of them, I have a couple Thomas Ian Griffith films. First up, we have Excessive Force. Always really, really enjoyed this movie ever since I first saw it on HBO and Cinemax. This is another one that they would run quite frequently back in the day. But always really liked this. Unfortunately, it did not do well, and I think that killed Thomas's chances of being one of the big action stars in the 90s, because he definitely deserved it. He obviously could pull off the martial arts. Good looking guy. Women liked him. And he had the acting ability, but it didn't happen. I think this movie got a limited release, and most people saw it on video and stuff like that. But he did do a few more that I did like, including this one, which is Cracker Jack, which is Die Hard at a ski resort. But I do like this film, and Natasha Kinski is in this when she was still hot, so there you go. And then you got Christopher Plummer as the bad guy. You really can't go wrong with him. So there you go. But this movie in America is stuck on VHS and LaserDisc. It never... Actually, I think everywhere, the DVDs that are out there overseas, I believe, are bootlegs. So this movie is stuck on analog formats. So hopefully one day that will be rectified, but we'll see what happens. We'll see if that changes. And then, of course, you got to have these on any format, but Home Alone... Actually, hold on, I forgot. I always forget that I have the third one on LaserDisc. But I do have the first three Home Alone movies, which are the only good Home Alone movies, at least in my opinion. I know a lot of people don't like 3, but that's okay. But we have the original Fox. For a little while, they were doing the widescreen logo kind of as a OBI type of thing, OBI, on the side of the jacket there. So again, they did that for a little bit, not too long, but there you go. And just the movie on here, but it's Home Alone. You got to have Home Alone. And then we have Home Alone 2, which did the same thing. Lost in New York. Always, I know a lot of people don't like this one either, but I've always really liked this one. And this one I actually watched more as a kid because I still have it. It's when we get to the VHS. I had this on VHS as a kid. I didn't get the first movie until VHS much later on. I remember renting the first movie from the video store, of course watching it every Christmas on TV, but I didn't own the first movie till actually quite a bit down the road later on. So there you go. And it's a funny story because how we got the VHS, and of course I'll bring this back up when we get to that. My dad actually won it in a contest, so there you go. And then we do have Home Alone 3, which again, I like this movie. Not a Christmas film, but it takes place in the winter and everything, so I guess it kind of fits. But I always liked this film. This is another one that was always on HBO and Cinemax back then. I think it did okay when it came out. I don't think it was a box office bomb, but of course it didn't make as much as the first two. But I like it. Again, I know people don't, and that to each his own. If you don't like it, that's cool. But I like this film, and I believe this is a late title, so it can get a little pricey out there. But again, I always forget that I have this on LaserDisc, and this is stuck on DVD. The first two have Blu-rays, but this one, I guess Fox did not give that much of a shit, and I know Disney doesn't care. But they're stuck on DVD for now. That's okay. For now. Hopefully we get a Blu-ray. We'll see. Then I have, next up, RoboCop 1 and 2, because these are the only RoboCop movies that are good. So I do have, of course, the legendary Criterion Collection Special Edition release of the original RoboCop. This one actually caused quite a stir back in the day. It was delayed multiple times. I think by the time it came out, I want to say it was 95. Yes, 1995. I think maybe it had even changed ownership at that point, because I think it was just delayed so long for whatever reason. But we finally did get it. And then I think even when it came out on DVD, that release got delayed for whatever reason. So you have the full movie in the CAV format, because again, this is the special edition release, which has the movie and the extra features. This is the unrated director's cut, which I believe was the first time it had been released. I don't think it had a VHS release. It has scene-specific commentary with Paul Verhoeven, Ed Neumeyer, who was the writer, John Davison, the producer, and Paul Salmon, who is a science fiction movie expert. That's not. It says RoboCop expert on the back here, but he's also an expert in Blade Runner and Starship Troopers, and wrote all these books about these movies. And he gets interviewed. Very cool guy. Very interesting guy. Film to storyboard comparisons and still frame archive in here, and that's pretty much it. But you do get this great gatefold, which has all the production notes here, all the credits, and the chapter stops here. So there you go. Actually, yeah, the movie again is in the CAV format. It's on 3 sides. Actually, no, it's on all 4 sides. My bad. I'm sorry. All 4 sides, and then the rest of side 4, it's all, again, your just frame by frame pictures and information, but still very cool to have. And then, of course, the commentary track. The commentary track got reissued on all the DVD and Blu-ray releases, but it was first here on the LaserDisc. So there you go. Come on, behave. Behave! You motherfucker, behave! And then we have RoboCop 2. Now, this is the harder to find deluxe letterboxed edition. There is a full screen release of RoboCop 2, which is very easy to get a hold of. It's a very common title. But this one is rare. It's hard to find. When you do find it, it can be a little pricey. I can't remember what I paid for it, but it was probably about $50 or so. And I never noticed that the shadow of Kane is reflected in RoboCop's helmet. I never noticed that. How many times have I seen this image and I never noticed that before? I'm getting old or something. But yeah, this one came out in 1998, so I believe this is a late title. But yeah, this one was a little bit harder, or still to this day is actually harder to come by. It just, I guess they didn't do that much of a run or what the case is. But yeah, if you do find this one, you're probably going to pay a little bit to get it. But I waited out and got one decently priced. Sadly, though, it's only the movie. They didn't have a trailer or anything on there. But it is what it is, I suppose. Then we have Cuffs with Christian Slater. Very fun movie. Always really enjoyed this film. I have it on Blu-ray. Could have sworn I have it on VHS, but I actually don't. Maybe I had it on VHS at one point and then got rid of it. Because I was at a place not too long ago and they had it and I didn't buy it because I'm like, I already have it, don't I? But I actually don't. So if it's there next time, I'll get it. But unfortunately, this only came out in full screen. Like I said, I don't know if it is open matte or not. But it was 91. Copyright date for the LaserDisc, 92. Universal, I think, was already doing widescreen LaserDiscs at that time. So I don't know why they did that, but oh well. But still a very fun movie. Always really enjoyed that. And then next up we have, if it wants to behave, there we go. We have Showdown with Billy Blanks and Ken Scott, who's right there from Ninja Turtles 1 and 2. He was in the suit as Raphael. Patrick Kilpatrick plays the villain. Pretty fun Karate Kid knockoff. Always really enjoyed this movie. Actually, Brian James is also in this. Not as a bad guy. He actually plays the principal, which is pretty fun. And it's funny because in the movie, his name is Kowalski, which I think was his name in Blade Runner. So there you go. I think his replicant's name was Kowalski, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, this is again a pretty fun Karate Kid knockoff. Can't go wrong. Directed by Robert Radler, who did Best of the Best 1 and 2, which is very cool. And that's on Blu-ray and such. But for a good while, actually, it was only on VHS and LaserDisc. It was stuck on there, but it has since come out on Blu-ray. And then next up, I Come in Peace. This is the widescreen release, but this one is laser rotted to fuck. This is one of the worst examples I've ever seen of laser rot. Excuse me. This is a known laser rot title. Like I said, even though it is known, your copy may not have it. It just depends. But my copy, sadly, is laser rotted to fuck. So pretty much the first side of the movie you can't even hear because the audio is that distorted. It's pretty bad. But it is in widescreen, and it does have the theatrical trailer at the end of the movie. It's just sadly, this one was just one of those bad laser rot titles. So maybe again, if I find another copy out there cheap, maybe I'll grab that and see if my luck will change. If not, it is what it is. Alright, so this is the last stack, so I will go through... actually, you know what? We're just going to cut this part short. It's going to be slightly less than an hour, because we're already close enough. So I'll just do that. I'll cut it short here, and then in part 9, we'll pick up with this stack, and then again, we'll be working in the back here. So maybe about 2, maybe 3 more parts we'll get done. So we'll see. But anyway, again, as always, thank you for watching. Most importantly, take care of yourselves. And we will see you guys in part 9. Later.